next guest is an Emmy-nominated writer and performer you know from her work on this show. Her book, Advice No One Asked For, is out now. Please welcome back to the show our friend Jenny Hagel, everybody! Longtime writer on the show, first-time guest.
First-time guest.
Congratulations on your book.
Thank you so much.
You have written hundreds, thousands of monologue jokes for the show, many sketches as well. Did any of that prepare you for writing a book?
Honestly, yes. I feel like writing for a late-night show teaches you about meeting a deadline.
Yes.
And it very quickly disabuses you of the idea that writing is something that happens when you get inspired and you have the right pen and the right kind of tea and the desk is smooth. Like, writing happens when it has to happen at the show, and that was so helpful because when you sell a book, you sign a contract and they're like, you owe us 75,000 words by this date.
Yeah.
And that could be so terrifying if I hadn't had the experience of meeting a bunch of deadlines here at different times when I didn't think I could.
I will say our writer's room does not have a single smooth desk. It's like, it looks like garbage piles.
Yeah,
I think people here have learned a smooth desk is very overrated.
Yeah, there was somebody who was writing a movie one time, a feature film about a late night show, and they came in one time to look at our writer's room to see what it should look like. And I noticed that in the movie version, it was cleaner.
Yeah. I'm sure they were like, well, nobody will believe that work gets done in a room that looks this disgusting.
Yes,
yeah.
And every writer's room smells a little bit like feet.
Yeah. I think it's very feet forward, our writer room.
It is.
So this was based on a live show you used to do. You used to give advice to audience members.
Yeah.
And you would also have an actual therapist who at the end of the show would give you a letter grade for how good your advice was.
That's right.
So you did not do any studying beforehand about how a therapist would give this advice. Your advice very much came from Jenny Hagel, but then you were curious as to how good it had been.
That's right. Yeah. My main qualification for doing that show is just being opinionated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have a lot of opinions and want to say them out loud.
Yeah.
So that's really just the premise of the show.
Yeah.
I really feel like I know what to do with everybody else's life, and I needed a forum to let that out.
And by the way, you would give them very bold advice.
Yes, I have given. I have suggested at least a dozen divorces.
Yeah.
In the course of the show. But the thing is, here's the thing, I stand by it. Because I think, so the way the show works is when people come in, they get a blank note card and a pen, and they can write a question down and put it in a bucket. So it's all anonymous. And I'll pull these questions out. And the number of times somebody will be like, should I divorce my husband?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, if you went to a comedy show and had one thing to write down and that was it, divorce him tonight.
Oh. What is some of the advice in the book that you have for people?
So some of it is more big and kind of more esoteric, like how to show up for people, a friend who might be having a hard time.
Yep.
Some of it is very specific and action-oriented, like wear black on an airplane. Wear an analog watch so you don't lose hours of your life looking at your phone. And then one that I really feel deeply about is do not make your wedding toast a comedy routine.
Interesting.
I feel so strongly about this.
This is now, can a maid of honor or a best man do a comedy toast?
I think nobody should do one.
Interesting.
I think even if they work in comedy.
Wow.
I think the point of a wedding toast is to say nice things about the people getting married.
Right.
And I think something happened, and I'm sure the internet and YouTube were involved, where I think some speeches have gone viral, and everybody's like, oh my God, that's so funny. So then people feel like this is my moment to shine.
Right.
But imagine thinking that on someone else's literal day to shine.
Oh my God. I wish I'd heard this from you 25 weddings ago. This is, by the way, I want to show what it looks like in the state. This is an actual therapist here giving you a B+.
That's right.
This one, there's a therapist giving you an A right here.
Yes.
But what's the lowest grade you got?
The lowest grade, just Thursday night in Portland, I got a C+.
Okay, and what was the feedback you got from the therapist as far as what you had done wrong?
I think the therapist felt like I was too direct.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
I feel like that's saving. I wish I had a direct therapist. Do you know how much money we'd all save if our...
Dude, that's why they gave you a C+. That therapist was like, you got to stretch these answers out. We all think she should leave her husband, but not tomorrow.
We got to spend at least 6 months going, what do you think about Brad?
You also, you talk about being a comedy writer, and you talk about the pitching process, like a lot of the way new ideas happen on this show is we all get together. We're going to all get together tomorrow and have a table read and pitch ideas. It can be very stressful, and you have advice about pitching.
Yeah, when I first started working in late night, I was really floored by how much rejection is involved.
Yeah.
Let's say in an average week, a monologue writer turns in 200 jokes.
Yep.
Like on a decent middle of the road week, you get one on a night. So that means you get 4 jokes on and 196 jokes that you wrote go in the trash.
Yeah.
It's so much rejection that I had to kind of shift my mindset to this idea that just the act of pitching something is the victory. And so I have this very corny phrase that I say all the time, which is when you pitch, you win.
Yeah.
Like if you, and this is true for I think people with like more normal jobs. Like it's nerve-wracking to get up in a room full of people in any forum and say, hey, I think I have a good idea. Like that's risky and
Yes.
vulnerable, right? It's risky to ask a new friend out for coffee or ask someone out on a date. It's just risky to try something new. And so I think like the idea that like the trying is the victory has helped me fool myself into thinking that I'm doing a good job when 196 of my jokes get thrown out by you.
Well, I throw a lot of jokes out, and not just you, all other writers, and some of them are just. I stand by this, aren't jokes. You did. You talk about pitching is winning. Sometimes also like the pitch is the win. You came up with jokes, Seth can't tell, which is like unlike anything that had been on Late Night before. The minute I saw it, I was like, this is an incredible idea. I could see that it would have this incredible, which it has, long life on our show. But do you have a favorite pitch you had that did not immediately open everybody's eyes to its possibilities?
Yeah, I actually, like my second week of work here, there's no way you will ever remember this. My second week of work here, I just like kind of had an idea at home and I wrote it up and I like nervously, sweatily brought it in to Alex Bays, a head writer, who's like America's best monologue joke writer and America's tallest man.
Yeah.
And I just literally was like, I thought maybe we could, this is a thing from the news. And he looked at it and he goes, great, let's try this at rehearsal today. And I was like, okay, it's happening. And then like you gave notes on it and we revised it. And then before the pandemic, we used to do a rehearsal in here before the show to a bunch of tourists.
Yep.
And you would test out material. So you started to read the sketch and the first joke did not hit. It was like silence.
Yeah.
Like beyond silence. Like in a movie about space where someone gets locked outside the spaceship. And there's like that whooshing sound that's like silence plus.
Yeah.
We were in silence plus. And then you did the second joke and that also got nothing.
Right.
And then I just quietly looked at the back of the script and I saw that the last page was numbered 11.
Yeah.
And then just like got covered in the coldest sweat. And then I went back to the writer's room after and you were so kind. You were like, so maybe we keep working on it.
Yeah.
Which is so kind. And then I went back to the writer's room and I was like, and they all were like, fired! You are fired! Which I now know was like them lovingly teasing me, but I remember they did it so many times that finally I went, guys, that will be so funny to me in a month. But that is not funny to me right now.
But like we've all been there,
Yeah.
and there is that the most haunting thing, and for me it happened the most at SNL at a table read, where the first joke is supposed to be like like it's very rare for the first joke to get nothing and the second joke to be a house on fire, right?
Yeah.
And so it is that thing where you immediately time travel into the future and you're like, oh, none of them are gonna work.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you also have to live through the present, and it
11
is
pages.
interminable.
Imagine just getting hired and watching your boss read 11 pages of jokes that aren't landing, and you did that to him.
Yeah. And the tourists are like, you've ruined New York. Congratulations on the book. Thank you for working here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Are you
And
kidding?
you guys, this is Jenny Hagel. Late Night's Jenny Hagel. Advice no one asked for is out now. We will be right back.